Hello everybody, Tugi here, back again with another video. My goodness, I don't like this intro, but we're sticking with it. Why? Out of pure laziness, and I don't really know a better way to intro this video. But we are here today to talk about something that's been percolating, been discussed quite a bit over the last, almost 24 hours now since this tweet dropped in regards to X Factors in NHL 22. And I've been asked to give my 2 cents, so here I am to give my 2 cents. Ask and you shall receive. So let's just get to this, I guess, because there's no real great way to talk about it. EA released the list of the full 50 players that have X Factors, which first and foremost, they worded this horribly. And it hasn't helped in terms of the sense of confusion that has been out there for some people in regards to this, despite, of course, the beta coming out and kind of showcasing what the X Factors are. And, of course, there are articles talking about the X Factors, but the main thing here, there are not just 50 players that have X Factors. There are a lot more that have X Factors. However, these are players that have the zone abilities. And it's a little bit different from Madden in some ways, as you probably know. I've talked about it on this channel. But X Factors in this game, you have your zone abilities, and then you have your superstar abilities. Now, zone ability, I should say, is this. It's the peak boost you can get to a certain attribute or a certain set of skills, whereas you still have superstar abilities that are, let's say, if zone abilities are a 1.0 boost, they're a 0.5. They're still a boost, but they're not the zone abilities. And I still think a lot of people are confused about that, unfortunately, and maybe EA hasn't worded things maybe as they should in a lot of different ways. But again, there will be players like this Make It Snappy isn't Artemi Panarin's only boost. He will have quite a few boosts, and I don't know if they actually have an example, if they would have shown it elsewhere throughout here. I mean, consider it similar to, this right here, what we saw in the beta with the World of Chell feature. Again, you have a zone ability, but you have other abilities, and if I'm not mistaken, it's not limited to 2. You can have up to 5 superstar abilities on a player and their zone ability as well. So, in case anyone was still confused in the sense of, oh, well, why doesn't this guy have an ability? He might. It just might not be his own ability, which kind of brings me to this tweet from Nasher here. Now, right out of the gates here, this is not a taking shots at Nasher tweet or a video or anything, nor should you be taking shots at Nasher. I have had nothing but positive experiences talking to Andrew. He's a great guy. When it comes to this tweet, though, again, I have to disagree vehemently. As I said in the tweet, every team in NHL 22 should have at least one X Factor player. Completely disagree. And again, I will tell you why, and I would have said as much in the tweet here. The idea of essentially making it so that everyone has to have one, or every team has to have a player with a zone ability, the ratings are bad enough as they are, guys. They really are. And that would only make it worse. To then have to artificially boost somebody up just to hit this idea of every team has to have one. You know, you talk about guys, and I got a response to this one here where I said, hey, if you can find someone on Ottawa or Anaheim, go ahead. Thomas Chabot, Brady Tkachuk, will they have superstar abilities? Yes. Do either one of them deserve a zone ability? Probably not. Is Thomas Chabot one of the top 5 to 10 best players in the world at any one given thing? Maybe he is, but maybe not. Same for Brady Tkachuk. Decent young player, will probably have abilities, but should he absolutely have his own ability? In my opinion, no. Same on Anaheim. I mean, who do you want to throw out there? I mean, maybe there are some players, like, I don't know if like Cam Fowler's shot blocking ability is up that high. I'm doing some of my own research for my eventual custom rosters right now. But the idea of Well, every team needs one, so John Gibson, even though his stats have been going down, no, not just because the team's been bad, but his numbers have actually just been going down, he deserves one for the sake of every team should have one. Again, I completely disagree with that, and I think that opens up its own kind of issues to say that every team needs at least one player with zone abilities. If the argument is, oh, well, then no one's going to play as Anaheim in, like, versus mode, well, yeah, no shit. People aren't likely to play with Anaheim anyway. It should never be based off of every team needs to have one. It should always be based off of who actually deserves this boost, these attributes, this X factor. It should always be based off of who deserves it. So again, not a shot at Nasher. I mean, I get in a way of what he's saying, although Colorado does probably deserve 4 or 5. Tampa does probably deserve 4 or 5. Why? Because they do have superstar level players. And this concept of X factors is what we've asked for. It's the idea of making the best players feel like the best. And if you start saying, well, this guy deserves one and this guy, and then you start dragging down the requirement of what it is to be the best of the best, then we're just right back to where we were, where what's the point of even having X factors if everyone's going to have one? It's the idea of the debate, what is even elite anymore? It's not exactly an exclusive class to most people. Whereas X factors themselves are designed essentially to make elite players feel elite, even if it is just, of course, in one aspect. But that is the idea. Now, if you want to look at players like this and disagree with some of the boosts, by all means, feel free. I can't necessarily disagree that some of these might be a bit off the mark. For the most part here, the offensive ones are pretty on point, I would say. I mean, especially too, people might be surprised actually at how good Mark Scheifele is in certain aspects. But, you know, initially too, it didn't help that I think when they first posted this article, like Connor McDavid wasn't even listed. So I don't know what happened with that. But again, I get what some people are saying in some of their critiques, but also, like I said, for this one tweet in particular, I very much disagree with that idea. And you do have the ability to edit this. Flat out, is Seth Jones going to have a zone ability for me? Probably not. Probably not. There are still going to be a lot of things that I disagree with in terms of ratings, attributes, and now X factors. There's just more added to the list of things that I'm likely to disagree with when it comes to how EA sets things up and how I would set things up based off of following stats that are out there in analytics. The horrible analytics word. Will Carey Price have an X factor in Tugi's rosters? Stay tuned to find out. But yeah, I just wanted to mention that really quickly. And I mean, as well, too, like, these ratings came out, and for the most part, I don't even bother following what EA does with a lot of these ratings, because, as you know, for them to hit, say, Connor McDavid being a 95, like, you know, his defensive ratings are going to have to be artificially boosted up. I mean, granted, his wrist shot's accuracy is a 96. Why not just make it a 99, essentially? But yeah, for stuff like that, I kind of don't pay as much attention to it. But for the idea of who has X factors, who doesn't, stuff like that, again, just because somebody doesn't have a zone ability here doesn't mean that they won't have boosts up to, other attributes that are there. It just might not be that zone ability. And again, the big difference, of course, with Madden that I was going to mention earlier is in Madden, for that ultimate X Factor ability, you have to be like, oh, complete 3 long passes, and then all of a sudden you're jacked for the majority of the rest of the game. This is just, hey, if you get on the ice with Alex Ovechkin, he's really good at taking one-timers, and that's how it should be. But yes, I must say once again, please, God, if you have this take of every team should have an X factor, I disagree. And I don't think it was down to EA just being like, oh, well, there's only room for 50 players. I mean, I don't think that was their take of like, okay, we have to have the top 50. Let's just leave it and then figure out what direction to take. That's all I'm gonna say. And I think that's been my main takeaway from the beta as well. Look at the change and don't immediately say, oh God, change. Let's let it settle for a little bit. Let's settle into the new house for more than a day before saying, I'm out. Give it a little bit of time. Give it a little bit of time. But I feel like in general, especially off of what I know about X Factors, it should be a decent boost. There's going to be a lot of changes I'm personally going to make to the X Factors list, I'm sure, as I edit rosters as I do. But yeah, I think it's good. So I'm going to stop rambling. I'm going to stop ranting. Just wanted to put this video up. Check my Twitter notifications. There are more people agreeing with me. Hooray. The more likes on Twitter you get, the more right you are. Never forget. Shout out to Feidelberg. I think the only person from Barstool that I follow. And it's because of his tremendous trolling of New York Yankees fans. I will see you all very, very soon. Thank you for watching this. Of course, a friendly reminder, if you're not caught up to date, we still have an NHL 21 franchise mode series going. The link is in the description to my second channels, of course, the Tugi 24 channel, TWO, where we have Madden stuff going on right now. A lot of it. We're also going, actually, we have NBA stuff just about ready to start. FIFA stuff just about ready to start. So, hey, make sure to sub to that channel if you're wondering, like, hey, why don't you do franchise mode on other games? I still do. It's over there now. And the podcast channel is there as well. So yeah, tell me why Carey Price deserves every single X Factor in the game, and I'll see you guys very, very soon. Goodbye.